Hello, I'm Ludwig and this is Data Platform Microlearning. Now, a few days back, I've posted a video about the not the data platform, but about the window functions. Now, I divided that window functions video into two parts because squeezing in both the window functions themselves and partitioning of the result set into just one video, that wouldn't just fit into the 10 minutes a day approach that we have here on the Data Platform Microlearning. So, I made those videos, I posted them on Reddit, and what happened is that first of all it got a very positive feedback, and then just in the very first comment Vodak suggested that I should also add lag and lead functions to this video series, so that's where we are today. Welcome to Data Platform Microlearning Window Functions Part 3, the lead and lag functions. Now I've already prepared a query in here for you so we can have something to work on in order to show you how exactly those queries work and how we can build those. Of course, we will build them one by one, step by step in just a sec, but I just want to first explain what the lag and lead functions are. So what those functions do for you is they will show you how does the value look like when you take a row above or row below the one that you're looking at this very moment. So let's take one of those rows as an example. Let's take this one. Now what I did in here is I took my sales order ID, so the number, the invoice number of my sale, then order total, how much this particular order was worth, how much I earned on that order, and then I want to see whether this particular order was greater or lower than the previous or the next one, right? So how do I do that? Well, again, in this particular case, which I'm looking at right now, the order 71780, I have the value of $29,000, right? Now, how does the previous one, or let's start with the next one, how does the next row looks like for this particular column on this for this order? Now this is 29923. The next one is 33319, right? So you can see that these two are exactly the same value. So what we did in here is we took this information and we say, hey, what's the lead value? What's the very next one on that list? And that's what the lead function will do for you. Now this is the very same case, or actually the very opposite case of the lag function, because the lag function, what it'll do is it'll take a look at this value and say, hey, what was the previous one? And boom, the previous one is 63.90. Let's take a look, 63.90. So basically you can think about it as a kind of a pivoting of your table, but not the entire thing, but just this one row above and one row below, which I can see in order to compare and then build my graphs, build my analysis based on that information. So this is exactly how I build this query, but we need to start over. We need to start from scratch. So again, I'll just open my tables. I already have my sales order header table in here, and I want to select top 1000 rows from that table. Sorry, the sales order header. No, what I'm looking for is the sales order detail table. So again, sales order detail, this one, select top 1000 row. Now I have all of the necessary information. Here I have my sales order ID, so the invoice number, and then the sales detail ID. So every single line on every single invoice across the board is identified in some way. This is my sale order detail. Now I also see the information about how many of those products were bought, what are the product IDs, the prices, maybe some discounts, and so on and so forth. So basically, if I wanted to calculate, and then again I can get rid of this row GUID and modify date because we don't need that those two pieces of information. All right, so boom, I'll have less info to work on. If I wanted to know how much I earned on this very first order, 71774, I would basically have to take those two order details, those two little lines, group them together based on the sales order ID, and then get all of the quantities for each one of those products, multiply those quantities by the unit price, right? And then probably apply some discount, if any, right? And then I would have what we call a line total. So fortunately, in this particular database, I already have that information. I already know what's the line total, because you can see that the 356 bucks times 1 is exactly that. Then if you'll take a look at the 218 times 4, it's 800 something. 461 times 2 is 923, and so 923, yeah. And then if you apply some discount, you can see that 112 times 6 should be 600 something, and yet it is 4, because I did get 40% discount. So basically I don't need any one of these four columns in, because I already have the line total. So let's do exactly that. Let's get rid of all of that info. Boom. Now, since I have all of that information, I start wondering, do I really need to have those sales order IDs? I don't really think so. But what I need to do is I need to have those line totals summed up per each one of those sales order IDs, right? Now, again, we're covering some basics of the grouping of your data. There is a separate video on that on Data Platform Microlearning, so just go ahead, subscribe, and make sure that you watch that video first in order to make sure that you really know what we're doing in here. So what I want to do right now is I want to summarize, boom, summarize this line total, boom. And I want to do that per each one of those orders. So I'll just say that I want to group by sales order ID. Now, if I just run this query in here, I would get an error, because again, how would I divide each one of that information by the sales order ID? So I don't need that column anymore. And right now, if I'll hit OK, you can see that each one of those order IDs are listed in here only once, and then each one will also have a sum of the total sales made on that order. Of course, it would be nice to call this column, let's say, order total. Tadam. So I'll just alias it as order total. Tadam. Again, you can see that this is that information. Now, what we want to do right now is we want to use this lag and lead functions on exactly this column, right? Again, I won't be able to refer to this column as order total just yet, because of the order of precedence, how SQL Server is proceeding and I lost the word right now, parsing your query as well. There's another term for that, but again, it will come back in just a sec. So the way it's resolving, that was the one that I was looking for. Resolving this query of yours is this order total doesn't exist just yet, so I will have to refer to it as sum total. Now I want to use the lag, so the previous one, and lead functions, all right? Well, let's do that one by one. Lag. So I want to see the previous one. If I'm seeing this one, I want to see the previous one. So the 713 should pop up just next to this line number 2, or in that number, line number 2. So I'll be looking for that particular information, right? Now, again, since this is a window function, what I need to do is I need to say what my window will be. And I want to do that over my order by sales order ID, because this is the order in which I have my information, right? Again, I want to look for the information in the previous row, and the previous row is the one that is ordered by the sales order ID. Again, if I wanted to be 100% sure that I will have the exact same order, I can add this order by here at the end with no problem whatsoever. So what we're seeing here is, again, next to the 63, I told you that I want to see 713, and that's exactly what happened. Now I do see a null in here. on the first row one. Why? Because I don't have the previous one, right? So that's where I cannot see that info, right? Now, of course, since this is not named just yet, what I can do in here is I can say that I want to call this column a previous, let's say previous value or whatever. And then what I want to do is I want to do the next one. Now, instead of building that same query again, what I'll do is I'll just copy this entire query, because the function works almost the same. I'll just change lag to lead, boom, and I'll rename it from previous to the next one, boom. So again, if I'm looking at the 63.90, the previous value is 713, and that's what I'm seeing here. The next one is 29,000, and that's what I want to see the moment I'll run this query, and boom, 63, ta-dam, the previous one is 713, the next one is 29,000. This is exactly how we build those lag and lead functions, and this is exactly how the Window Functions Explained Part 3 concludes. So again, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will be very happy to see you in the next episode of Data Platform Microlearning.